number 5 of the MEA Prototype Challenge. I'm SSR Mayhem, bringing you tonight's live action here at Sebring International Raceway. The season unfolding. We've seen Scotson and Europa go at it this season. Scotson with a couple more wins on the season so far, and last week's winner as they tackle the new course today here at Sebring. 24 laps in the race for today's event. It should be a good one. Bobberts, who is not here with me yet, we might get a glimpse of him later in today's race to catch on to the action. But we got 19 cars in today's field, only a few of the drivers not able to make the show today. And it should be a good one as these drivers are going to race in some of the most troubling conditions of the entire season. We'll see some nice, beginning racing, and then as the race progresses on, we're going to see some lightning and thunder and rain as the season is predicted for today's race. And then hopefully by the end of the race, it'll get a little bit more calm and kind of change the flow of the race. So it's going to be interesting to watch. And as some of these drivers get ready, so let's get a view on the lineup for today's race. Starting on the front row this week, Forza Europa, THR Europa is on the pole. Second will be ESV Scotson. RDE Chasmo third. Fourth will be Mex Zertar. Fifth, Surf V. Let's just get the camera angle there. Sixth will be SSR Starlord. Seventh will be Shadow. Eighth will be MRT Jewel. 9th will be MRT True. 10th will be MRT Ballistic. 11th will be Mex Senna. 12th will be Diamond Man 2014. 13th will be Mex Platinum. 14th will be WRT Kragadon. 15th MRT Turtle. 16th will be WRT Fat Damon. WRT Merciful starting in that 17th position. EBR PK, a non-qualifier because the points will start a little bit ahead of Topher there in the 18th spot, and rounding out the 19-car field will be TX3 Topher. And we're going to get on with probably Scotson to at least start this race. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys play out. As you see right now, partly cloudy skies in the mix for today's events. It's going to be an interesting race today. A little bit, I would consider this a more spaced out track than what we've seen in the other races this season. It's more of a flowing track. It's going to be interesting to watch. And for the BMW drivers, how are they going to play this out? From what I hear, that in the rainy conditions, it could be really, really interesting. Look at this field as they come around the final corner. We try to get these guys to slow it down a little bit this week so that the entire field can get together at the start of this race. So it's going to be really interesting to watch as they're 2 by 2 coming around here. So it's going to be interesting to watch once the front of the cars hit the stripe. It is green flag for them. 19 cars. Here we go. Sebring, 24 laps. And possibly a new winner this week. We'll find out. Green flag flies. THR Europa will start the lead of the pack here as they go into turn number 1. Pull up the race, we have to see if we can find any action over behind, but there's an incident! Something is wrong! And that is MRT Turtle with the early incident, and not sure what's going on with him, but we got another car off the track already early on in this race, and that looks like Diamond Man 2014. I'm not positive. Yeah, that's Diamond Man. Already with some problems early into this race. Check on the car, see if he got any damage. That's very unfortunate. He's good to go, so we'll get back to him. Meanwhile, going up back to the lead of the pack right now. I've got to get used to that. THR Europa currently leads the field with Scotson and Chasmo right there behind him. And look at this, Scotson trying to make that inside dive, side by side, going through the corners. And Scotson will take the lead. top 4 cars right now trying to get a groove on here. MRT Jewel got some positions. Getting some early shuffling in the back of the field right now. Go check that out. See how things are going on. We'll go back to 9th place spot, B Shadow. He's right there in the number 7 machine. Following MRT Truth. He's currently going to battle for that 8th position. He gets right into the inside of MRT Truth right there. Rookie season for MRT Ballistic. He's moved up some positions so far in this race, all the way up to, I believe, 7th spot right now. As SSR Star-Lord in front of him, currently running in that 6th spot. He's trying to track down MRT Jewel. We'll go a little further into the field, see how Topher's done. He started in last place to start this race. He's currently in that 13th position right now. Looks like got a little bit of a battle going on in the back with Surf B, who actually started near the top 5. Not sure what's going on with him, as he's fallen backwards since the start of this race as well. Surf B starting to move in the wrong direction early on. Gotta see if he can rebound from this, as Diamond Man and Turtle are doing some rebounding of their own right now. We'll move further up the field. Let's check out the leaders are doing. We'll go back on Europa here, as Europa is hunting down ESP Scottson again. Now Scottson took the lead on lap number 1 with a nice inside line. And Europa starting to feel the car a little bit here, as he's still got Chasmo. Scottson going a little bit over the top there into the S section. He's trying to hang on to the car. Europa able to keep a nice line there. So 1, 2, and 3 are doing some work here early on. We're going to have to keep an eye on this battle, as Europa was the pole sitter for today's race, and he's trying to track him down with the speed from the BMW as they go into the final corner there. Chasmo not too far off the pace. These are 1, 2, and 3 going to battle as they come out of the final corner here, going to lap number 3. And these 3 are starting to take off. So, Zeratarp, Jewel, and Star-Lord, they're the next 3 in the mix behind. Chasmo on the rear bumper of Europa had to back off just a little bit there as they go into the second turn. Chasmo hitting the grass just a little bit right there. Scottson still leads the field. Europa hasn't been phased yet, and he's trying to get his lead back. You gotta wonder here, as the rainy conditions are on the way, how long until these come in, and how much of a factor will that be as the race progresses, and Europa gets right onto the back side of Scottson there, almost go bumper to bumper, while Chasmo's just trying to hang on, lingering off that 3-car pack right now. Meanwhile, further behind, Zeratarp is now having some problems as he gets passed up by MRT Jewel, and Jewel making some moves early on here. Zeratarp with the best qualifying performance of his season right now, trying to keep a consistent pace. He's currently in 5th spot, so something to keep an eye on as the race progresses. Meanwhile, it looks like MEX Senna has taken over the 9th position, and we got a battle going on in front of them right now. So let's get on board, but B Shadow goes off the track just a little bit there as he's trying to track down Ballistic. It looks like these 3 now have kind of gotten in their own little bit of a pack, so keeping an eye on these guys as Senna's trying to work on B Shadow after the micro mistake that Shadow made on Ballistic, and he makes another little mistake right there. MEX Senna trying to get into that draft as B Shadow just trying to hang on to this lap. He was all over the place. MEX Senna looks to the outside. He scoots up there to throw a little bit of a block there. Senna dives down. No, he's going to stay in line, not trying to make a early decision. And so, yeah, they hold on to it. It looks like Star-Lord is starting to catch up to Zeratarp right now as he's working on the BMW driver, who's currently trying to retrack down Joel. So let's go back up to the lead cars here. Let's get back on with Europa as he's got a little bit of a distance from Scottson. Scottson like he overdrove the horse a little bit right there. Chasmo still working on Europa right now. Scottson goes off the track. Scottson makes a big mistake. And he comes right back in line, and he's going to have to recover. Now, last week we saw something very similar to this with ESV Scotson. Scotson made an early mistake back at Spa last week, and he fell all the way back to 7th or 8th. That was a very, very close call there. He went right into the grass. I don't know what happened to the car, but he's able to recover. Now, he's got a little bit of a gap. Now, Europa's back in the race lead. So that's something to keep an eye on, because right now, this guy right here, RDE Chasmo, has been all over Europa since the start of the race after Europa lost the lead to Scotson. So let's see what happens now that Europa's back up front. Let's see if he can get that gap on these two guys, and let's see what he can do here. Chasmo just trying to hang with him right now. Chasmo last week, ladies and gentlemen, he was leading 90% of the race. Scotson made an early mistake the first few laps into the race, and he led forever. Scotson, who did one of the most amazing drives of the season, came all the way back from 7th to win the race with 2 laps to go. Chasmo had it later, 2 laps ago, about 10 laps ago, I'm sorry. And then Chasmo, a little bit after that, had a mistake. He had to kind of rebound from it. And here he is looking to try to battle for the lead. So Chasmo's season has been kind of up and down, up and down. Let's see if he can break that bad streak here today, as right now he's looking for battle for the lead. Let's pull up the race map here, and you can see how everything's jumbling up. Front 3 cars are currently going at. Zeratarp has retaken 4th. Something's wrong with Joel. Let's go back to that battle right now. We'll get back up to the race leaders here in a minute, as MRT Joel's now playing defense on SSR Star-Lord, and MEX Zeratarp has kind of gathered himself a little bit. Not sure if Joel made a mistake or not, but he definitely lost a lot of ground from the race leaders, and now finds himself in a 3-car battle of his own. Once again, this is week number 5 of the MEA Prototype Challenge. I'm SSR Mayhem, bringing you tonight's live action here at Sebring. We are lap 5 of 24. I know it says 6 of 25. There's a pace lap at the beginning of this race, and the rain is supposed to be on its way, so we're going to see how the track conditions favor the race as it goes on here today. Right now, still nice skies, so still favorable for some of these drivers, as Star-Lord's still working on Joel. Meanwhile, up in the race lead, let's go take a look at how that's going unfolding. Europa still currently leads. Scotson has taken over the 2nd spot from RDE Chasmo, and Scotson's back on a mission to take over first. So let's see how Scotson plays this one out. EBRPK dropping back 2 positions, it looks like 14th to 16th, not sure what happened to him. Mercerville drops all the way back to 19th early on in this race, so we're going to see how this plays out. All the drivers know they have a mandatory pit stop in this race, so we're going to see how that plays out as a factor as well. A lot of things being a factor here today. Europa just trying to hang on. Ferraris got a little bit better acceleration, but the way the track's laid out, it kind of plays a little bit in his favor as well on the long run. Especially on them straights, he can kind of get a little lot more speed, but with the drafting in play, it's definitely keeping these 3 around each other. Chasmo having a little bit of a problem there. The last section of the track, he's trying to hang on to the car, stay with the line. The last thing Chasmo needs to do is stay out of the draft with these 2 guys. We've watched him week after week after week, you know, fade late in races, and right now he's doing a phenomenal job keeping that car up there with these 2 guys. These 2 guys have been the hot cars during this season, and they have been proving it week in and week out. Scotson and Europa battling off with qualifying, battling in just about every race. Europa, unfortunately, not making last week's race, but he's back in action here tonight. Won back in week number 2 at Daytona, and looking to get another win here today at Sebring, and he's going to have to do a lot of work in order to make that happen, and we'll see how it plays out as they go into the final corner here. Scotson, bumper to bumper, trying to squeeze his car to the inside. Europa able to hold up in the front of the pack. EBRPK moved back up into 14th. Let's pull up the race map. Let's get an idea of how this distance is. Some lap down cars probably within the next several laps, as you kind of see how everything's playing out here. Wonder if some of the drivers have to pit early. It's definitely spaced out. Check a couple things out here as Joel is back up to 4th, Star Wars 5th, 6 is Zeratart. Meanwhile, Chief Shadow and Ballistic have swapped positions and are catching up to those guys. Topher's up to 11th after starting last in this race. So he's moved up 8 positions. And we got a battle for the 13th position, and trying to figure out if you guys want to watch this battle right now, as Scott's still working on Europa. Let's go back to the back of the pack here for a minute and check out how these two guys are doing. They aren't really as close as I thought they were, so we'll go back up to the race leading battle right now as Europa's still trying to hold off Scottson. An onboard camera view with Europa. See Chasmo still hanging with them, trying to stay in the mix. He's lost a little bit of ground. Europa is doing pretty much just about everything to try to gap Scottson and himself, and Scottson's just kind of sitting there, waiting on it, trying to find the right moment to attack, and Chasmo's just sitting there thinking, you know, if these two keep going at it, if they start to go at it a little bit harder than just, playing cat and mouse, maybe he has the opportunity to jump on a possible mistake, and right now it's just pretty flawless racing between these two. As Scottson had to take a little bit deeper of a line there, it looks like. Not the line he wanted. That brings Chasmo back up behind him. If there's anybody that you guys want to check out in this race, let me know. I'll check out the driver for you and see how they're doing. On top of the screen there, you see how everyone's playing out. As all 19 drivers still on the racetrack. Diamond Man and Turtle moved up quite a bit. It looks like Senna had to make a pit stop. Not sure what happened to him, as he's dropped back to 19th now. Check out Scottson's. He's also out there. Pretty much same fuel mileage for both drivers. So these cars will all be making pretty much the same pit stops into today's race. Now, one mandatory pit stop is required by the drivers, but the amount of laps they're not going to make it anyway, so they would have to pit regardless. Scott's struggling that last lap a little bit, not where he was a couple laps ago. Still within striking range. So we'll come and check this out here in a minute as we'll go back and check out a couple other battles possibly going on the track. Like Ballistic and Beast Shadow are doing some battling right here. Rookie of the Year, MRT Ballistic, in his first league appearance for any, not only himself, but for his race team, and has done a phenomenal job this season. Currently trying to hold off Beast Shadow, who finished last week. I believe he was a 5th place finisher in that race after doing some battling with SSR Marshmallow, who qualified but didn't make the race here today. Shadow! Oh, and Ballistic get a little loose there. Shadow laid off and went back on. So, hard racing between these two guys right now. A battle for 9th place going on between WRT Fat Damon and Mex Platinum as we ride on board with these two guys. Laps here, the rain conditions should start taking into effect. So we continue to ride along with Fat Damon and Platinum here for the battle of 9th. Looks like Scott's got within reach again of Europa. We'll get back on that little battle. on each other. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, going at it. So here we go, Europa now trying to still hold off Scotson took a look, it looked like, right there to make an inside move, but nothing there. Welcome to the chat, Nicole. Glad to have you, as we are currently 10 laps of 24 down, and the front 3 cars have taken off from the field. And it's been nothing but sensational driving from the top 3 drivers, and Chasmo really putting on a show here as struggling weeks, ladies and gentlemen, he's had, and this is really, really great to see him doing so well, especially halfway through the season. Could be a breakout part of the season for Chasmo as Europa clips the grass there just a little bit. See this, Europa, Scotson, Chasmo just hanging in there with one another, just doing everything. Oh, and Forza Europa, they all go into the grass. And that's the thing about chasing. You never know where the leader's going to go, and if you're trying to run that line, you're going to follow suit sometimes. And that right there was just the case, as I believe Chasmo had the least amount of grass, but definitely caught it. Look at these 3 going, all 3 of them going wide up. Scotson got a big run onto the outside, and he is looking to the inside now. What can Europa do here as they go side by side in the turn? Europa has to go in suit. He's trying to get his nose right back underneath Scotson's. Look at this move he's going to take here. Oh, he thought about it, but he laid off, and new race leader, ESV Scotson, has retaken the lead on lap number 11. And Chasmo clips the backside of Europa, almost colliding into the tire barrier right there. That was a very scary moment. It might not look like it on this screen, but I promise you, those guys were very, very close from just not being in contention at all at the end of this race. And this is what Scotson needed right here. This is probably the point of the race that he wants to be up front, knowing that the weather should change within the next couple of laps, and we're waiting on it. An 80% chance of thunder and lightning today. And Scott's starting to get some distance on Europa and Chasmo, and Chasmo's now back on Europa here. We're going to see here what Europa can do. How can he respond? Europa, oh! A little bit wide off that final corner. Trying to stay off the tire wall. Currently up front as we pull up the race map. Lap traffic is about to take effect there. Let's see who the first I would say victim is, and it looks like MEA Senna with some struggling here today early on. Had to make an earlier pit stop. I'm currently running that 19th position right now. In front of him is WRT Merciful and Kragadon, 2 teammates. Diamond Man has moved up to 16th. Turtle up to 15th. We got a battle still brewing between WRT Fat Damon and MEX Platinum. Surf V, who qualified 5th in today's race, ladies and gentlemen, has caught himself back up into 11th. He's fell as far back as about 16th in just 2 laps of this race, and he's finding some rebounding here as you see him behind these 2 drivers. Let's get on Surf V here briefly. Surf V right there as he's currently trying to rebound from what seemed to be a struggling part of this race for him. And he's slowly starting to creep in on the battle in front of him. We get on board with him. driver into the pits, and that looks like that's Europa. Europa is currently in pit road right now. So it looks like he's getting tires and fuel and getting ready to rock and roll for the second half of his race. Let's see how traffic plays a factor as he comes out of the pits here. He's going to be behind about 5 cars from where he's at. So while that's going on, you got to think about the leaders as they start catching up to lap traffic. And here comes Europa out of the pits now in front of MRT Ballistic and AMSB Shadow. So Europa's got a little bit of breathing room as he has to try to put down some solid laps to see if he can catch up to the guys in front, maybe possibly take over the race lead. Here's SSR Star-Lord running in that 4th position right now as he's trying to track down MRT Jewel after they passed up MEX Z-Tarp. Go back up to the race lead and see how Chasmo's doing. Chasmo's in that 3-car pack, still hanging tight as he's currently trying to stick with Scott's in here. The rain has not fallen. What's really interesting to see here, what course the game doesn't want to pay attention to. So we might not have any weather today, I don't know. And will these two make the pit stop now that Europa has? Scottson does, he goes into the pits. Chasma will take over the race lead now. Race leader, RD Chasmo. Jewel goes into the pits. That leaves Star-Lord onto the racetrack. Zeratarp comes into the pits as well. Europa's coming out. Let's see how he comes out as Scottson made his pit stop. Scottson comes out right in front of him. No problem there for him. Europa trying to find some ground here and see if he can catch up to Scottson. And RD Chasmo, currently the race leader, catching up to lap traffic now. And as you see there, he's starting to catch up to a couple of the WRT drivers. WRT Merciful right there, first car. Is he going to try to lap him? It looks like Merciful's pulled off to the right, so he's going to let Chasmo on by there. Still the first car a lap down now. Will Chasmo remain on the racetrack or will he make the pit stop as he knows that he's going to stay? Oh! And Chasmo barely gets into the pits. Just like that, he makes his pit stop. Here comes SSR Star-Lord now. Will he make his pit stop? One of the last few leaders on the track to make a pit stop, and he's going in as well. So all the top drivers making their final pit stops for the race. And ESB Scottson will retake the lead going into lap number 16. And Chasmo coming right on out behind Europa there. So the top 3 guys have come in, come out. Surf V has moved up some positions. He's gone around MEX Platinum. And Star-Lord coming out, just hanging in there, but Surf V's going to have to make a pit stop, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to be able to make it on fuel, so that's going to be rough for him. But right behind him, a battle for that other position there for 6th and 7th, as the Star-Lord now working on MEX Platinum. Platinum's also going to have to make a pit stop here as well, so this is going to be a little bit hard for Star-Lord as he's been trying to catch up to MRT Jewel. You gotta wonder for some of these guys, can they make it on fuel, especially early on? But, oh, they got clipped. Star-Lord and Platinum got together, bumper to bumper. That's really gonna affect Star-Lord. Meanwhile, right behind them, it looks like MEX Zeratarp starting to show up now. Star-Lord still working on Platinum. Star-Lord has made his pit stop. Platinum hasn't. So this is probably very frustrating for Star-Lord, as he knows he's got to try to get around him to start making up some ground. Star-Lord's all over the back bumpers. Zeratar's starting to catch up to him right now. And we're going to find out here what Platinum does. And he barely hangs on, gets to the side, cuts in. Star-Lord to the outside, takes over that 6th place spot. But it looks like Platinum's trying to stick his nose on the inside here. And he does. That was a very close call between those two guys. They were going at it hard there. Star-Lord able to get around him now. Platinum's going to stay out for another lap. And so Star-Lord, just like that, was able to get in, get out, make it happen. It looks like another battle going on back here. It looks like for the 17th position. MEX Senna and WRT Kragadon right now. Battling for 17th right now. Looks like Senna got around Kragadon here. Oh, Kragadon gets to the back of him! Senna gets spun! So Senna is now into the wall. And he's coming back on the racetrack. Unfortunate for him, as that was some hard battling there. First looking a little bit of ground. Senna goes into the wall! So Senna doesn't look like he's happy about it. Pulled off to the side, so we're going to get off him for a minute while he decides what he's going to do there. And it looks like Senna's packing it up and putting it into the garage. So Senna is out for the remainder of the race with about 8 laps to go. Johnson has gotten a gap on Europa. Europa's got a little bit of a gap on Chasmo there. And Topher went off the track. TX3 Topher started 19th, has battled himself all the way up to about 11th. And now has made a mistake and has dropped to 14th. Fat Damon up to 12th. Oh, Fat Damon made a mistake! Into the wall! And he's got all types of damage on the car and will have to enter pit road. And just like that, he will be making a pit stop, unscheduled pit stop. As you can see, the car is really heavily damaged at this point. So Fat Damon's going to be getting some repairs done here in the next lap. Meanwhile, AMSB Shadow is caught back up to 8th place Ballistic. And the rain is coming. The thunder and lightning has appeared, and it is time to see what happens as these drivers get prepared to drive in the rain. Is it going to rain, though? That's the question. Right now, it's just thundering. There's an 80% chance that it could come down. Shadow is right on the rear of Ballistic here. Ballistic's on a nice, Shadow's got a nice run. Side by side, Ballistic made a mistake, go a little bit wide. Oh, but they clip! They clip and Ballistic just hangs on to the car! Wow! What a close call there. Ballistic looking is about to lose control of the race car. And it looks like the driver in the pits, that would be Surf V. After an earlier mistake, is coming back out on the racetrack. Didn't lose a whole lot though, about 4 positions. So he's rebounded rather well. go back up to the front cars and see how Chasma's holding up as he's trying to track down Europa. Europa is still working on getting to Scottson. And, oh, a mistake! Somebody's off the track and has put it into the garage. I'm not sure who that was. It looked like Merciful, possibly. We'll find out here in a minute. And it was WRT Merciful has dropped out. Europa clipping this grass right there just a little bit. And another driver out of the race, it looks like, unless Force is doing what Force does best, and that's just making streaming hard. I don't know what's happening. Is it gonna rain or not? It looks like it's gonna start, but we only got 5 laps to go here. And it's coming down. Oh, it looks like it's coming down. No, it's not coming down. My bad. So Fat Damon, the next driver into the pits, is sent into the garage. Check out the field, see if there's anything going on. Battle between Beast Shadow and Ballistic. Beast Shadow is taking over position. And just to update with some of the drivers, Senna has gotten into an accident, put his Senna home. We don't really know what happened to, well, we do know what happened to Mercico. He actually made a mistake and then he sent into the garage. And then Fat Damon, running all by himself, ran into a tire wall, sent him into the pits, and I think he might have made another mistake after making a pit stop, and he sent it to the garage. So Fat Damon's day has come to an end as well. That leaves 16 drivers onto the racetrack. The battle for 7th right now between AMS Beast Shadow and MRT Ballistic is going on. Meanwhile, the rain still holding off here, so there's a chance we won't see him. Look at this to the inside. Ballistic tried to make a move there. Looked like Beast Shadow made a little bit of a mistake, but kind of helped him out as it kind of gapped the two there briefly. But these two have been going at it pretty much the entire race. Let's check out the race map. And you see 1, 2, 3, the leader's right there, going into the final turn already. Europa, who's trying to catch back up to Scottson here. He was your pole sitter, but hasn't been able to really rebound since losing the lead. Chasma's been within range as well. He hasn't lost too much ground. I mean, these three have been going at it since the beginning of the race, and for them to be this close still, I think it's pretty impressive, especially in these types of cars. They've been bumper to bumper to bumper. We've seen about 3 lead changes since the start of this race between Europa and Scottson, and then RD Chasmo stayed out for a couple of laps. SSR Starlord stayed out for a couple of laps, or I think he stayed out for a lap. And so it's been a few lead changes today, and it looks like the rain will not be coming down today, as we're getting down to the last few laps of this race. So the 80% chance of a thunderstorm during the race today looks like it held off. The storm clouds have come in, but it doesn't look like we're going to see anything happen with the weather here today. So kind of a bummer, because we're really interested to see how these guys have performed in the conditions. But nonetheless, it's been an exciting race, and it's the only time these guys are going to probably see any type of weather format, as Scottson clips into the grass there a little bit. And this guy's been on a mission since last season. He started mid-season in the first season of the MEA Prototype Challenge last season. Got a couple of wins. Found the final race of the season started from last, probably about, I'd say about 13th, 14th was last year. We didn't have as many drivers as we did this year. We've had a very steady 20-plus drivers every week. So it's been really, this week we've had 19, so it was a nice little one less than normal, but we've been averaging good numbers this season. And Scottson last year, with only a few laps to go, lagged out after possibly battling for a late lead between SSR Markey, who now is Marshmallow, defending champion, who couldn't make today's race as well. And he's been sensational all season long, and this could be another win for ESV Scottson, as we're at the halfway point of the season. Only a couple of laps for me. Let's see if we can find something on the track. And I mean, we still got a battle going on between AMSB Shadow and MRT Ballistic, and they have been swapping back and forth. There's another battle going on further back for 12th, 13th. That's EBRPK, and oh, B Shadow made a mistake. So just like that, that battle's over with, and Surf B will go right on by, as B Shadow had made a mistake and hit the tire wall. Not sure what happened to him, other than it seemed like something went wrong his way there, as Diamond Man and EBRPK have been doing a little battling now. For 12, it looks like Diamond Man finally got around him though, so it looks like we missed out on this, but let's go back and check on Shadow, because he hit the wall. I don't see any damage on the car other than 1% engine damage, so he should be okay for the remainder of this race, but what a bummer for Shadow, as Ballistic was pressured all race long. I don't think we've seen a race this season where Ballistic's really, other than week 1 where he finished outside the top 10, has had really of a bad week in his rookie season. He's done a phenomenal job, and should be very proud of the performances he's put on up to this point, especially with the tough competition that has been in and week out, and how much preparation some of these guys really have made. We have one more lap to go here coming up, and pretty much everything on the track is done with. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to see if we have any other battles on the racetrack, and Kragadon, the only car a lap down that's still remaining on the racetrack. Starlord lost a lot of ground on MRT Jewel today. Europa's done everything he's could up to this point, but Scottson just has taken off, and he's made a mistake early in the race again, and it's been a really interesting day to watch some of these guys as the laps have progressed, and these three up front have been fun to watch. They were nose to tail, nose to tail, nose to tail. Your pole sitter, ESV Scottson, has done everything he could to hold, THR Europa has done everything he could do to hold off Scottson, as the white flag waves, 1 to go, and ESV Scottson, all he has to do is hang on to the car, run a consistent lap, don't make any little mistakes, and he'll have to win this week, and that will give him a 4th win on the season, where Europa has had one back in week number 2. And and Scottson just has been phenomenal this season. I mean, these last 2 weeks, he's made mistakes in both of them, and he's rebounded well. I mean, last week was an amazing performance. I mean, he was so far behind during the point of the race, was able to battle back. 10 laps to go. He was just in another class of his own. Today, made a mistake, fell back to third, caught back up, got around Chasmo, waited for about several laps to get around Europa. Finally got within striking range, got alongside him, and has not looked back ever since. So that 20% chance of not raining ended up pulling up for these guys, and one turn to go, ladies and gentlemen. One turn to go. ESV Scottson is on a mission to be the champion and to take the title in Season 2. Halfway point of the season, coming around the final corner. ESV Scottson will win at Sebring in week number 5 of the MEA Prototype Challenge. Congratulations to ESV Scottson. Finishing second for THR Europa. Third, RDE Chasmo, probably one of the best performances he's put on this season. MRT Joel, another consistent week. Did not start in the top 5. Had to fight his way back in, and one of the most consistent drivers in the field will finish 4th place and another top 5 performance. So congratulations to MRT Joel, and this is our Star-Lord with a 5th place position. It will be his first top 5 of the season. Right behind him is MEX Zeratarp, who ran one heck of a race, qualified 4th, and made his presence known. MRT Ballistic, halfway point of the season, has impressed a lot of people. He'll finish 7th. 8th place, Surf V. What a comeback for Surf V as he's battling with AMSB Shadow. He started about 5th place, ladies and gentlemen, fell all the way back to 16th. Surf V will hold off B Shadow for 8th and 9th. So congratulations to those two guys. B Shadow had to really fight back throughout this race. There we go with MRT Truth right in front of MEX Platinum. The battle for 10th right now. It looks like late battles in this race. So 10th will go to Truth, 11th will go to Platinum, 12th Diamond Man. Early mistakes cost him, and he'll be finishing, it looks like 12th. Wait a minute here. EBRPK has gotten around him. Oh, Diamond Man has run out of fuel on the last lap of the race. EBRPK will come in 12th. And Diamond Man just squeezes it in for 13th. 14th, TX3 Topher. And rounding out the field here, 15th, and I skipped a beat there, MRT Turtle will finish 15th. And WRT Kragadon, as he's getting ready to come around the final corner, he's ran out of fuel. He has run out of fuel, ladies and gentlemen. Kragadon on the final lap. We had 2 drivers, Diamond Man and Kragadon, who look like they're not going to be able to finish today's race. Looks like he's hoping the AI will crush him and go, yep, exactly what he was hoping for. So Kragadon will finish 16th, 17th will be WRT Fat Damon, 18th will be WRT Merciful, and rounding out 19th, MEX Cinema on one of the toughest days for him, to say the least. So not the best performance for Senna this season. We have post-race interviews coming up, so just hang in there tight as we get the top 5 drivers into the race commentary booth. We'll get their thoughts and get some questions and discuss it with those guys as we get them into the party here momentarily. What a race by some of these guys today. It was a lot of fun, and get to hear what some of these drivers have to say, and I accidentally think I almost kicked Europa out of the lobby, so that was really nice of me. And get Chasmo, Scottson. We'll get all these guys in here and talk to them briefly on how their race went today, and we think we got a couple of the drivers in here already, Star-Lord and Joel, so once we get the other 3 in here, we'll get talking to everybody, and meanwhile, while we wait for those guys, here's the final results. ESV Scottson, your race winner. Fastest time, it looks like, on the track, too, with the 44.5. So congratulations to ESV Scottson, as he just got into the party as well. So we got Europa, we got Scottson, and we'll be waiting for Chasmo here in a second. You guys just joined the party, though. Please accept the party chat box so that way these guys can hear you. We'll try to get Chasmo in here. But we're going to pull up and start the interviews. And one of the best races of your season, Star-Lord, and I got to say, it must have felt good. But there was moments in that race where, especially through the pitting section, you got stuck behind Platinum there for a little bit. Got a little bit bumper to bumper, and it just seemed like things didn't go your way, but you were able to rebound from that and a top 5 finish. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
And today's race, it was 80%, chance of rain, and we didn't actually get it today. It was actually a surpriser, so it looks like that 20% held off. But how did it feel going throughout the race? You started a little further back. I was able to kind of creep your way up. Some early mistakes for some of the drivers, and it was, like I said, you were able to get back up to that top 5. What did it take to be there today?
I just tried to be as aggressive as I could in the beginning without having any mistakes with myself or anybody else, and then kind of got clean air and just tried to stay in the zone and just keep pushing forward.
Well, congratulations on top 5 finish, Star-Lord. I know going into the season you said you had no real expectations, no high expectations to say the least, and get a top 5 probably exceeded those expectations.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I appreciate it.
Well, congratulations, and we'll move up to MRT Joel. And Joel, kind of not the normal starting spot for you. Normally you start a little bit closer to the front. Had to battle your way up there. It didn't take a whole lot of time for you to get there. It seemed like there was a couple mistakes made today. It's not something that we normally see out of you. Normally you kind of run a very consistent race. What happened out there, and what did it take for you to stay within reach and keep battling the way you were doing today?
I don't know, I had quite a good start, made a couple of positions, made a big mistake on lap 2 where I went onto the grass, and once I recovered to P4 it was pretty much an easy race.
Well, we say it every week, you finish top 5 each of the 5 races this season, and everyone was preparing for that rainfall, and when it didn't come, what was going through your mind at that point? You're thinking, well, hey, I don't have to deal with the rain at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. I was disappointed. I thought maybe it would shake up the guys at the front a little bit, but didn't really make a change to my race.
Right. Well, it definitely caught us all off guard, and I guess 20% chance of Forza not letting it happen. Don't ever let it have the chance to not give it to you. So, but I'm sure a lot of the other drivers were happy to not see it rain. But congratulations on another top 5 this week. As we go into, we're at the halfway point of the season. It's definitely, I'm sure you're definitely excited the way you performed this season, and you as well even said coming in, you've never driven prototypes, and you've been doing very well ever since.
Thank you, man.
And moving up the list, the man with few words, as ESV Scotsman would say, RDE Chasmo. And Chasmo, one of the best weeks you've had so far this season. Last week, you led a lot of the race, had a late mistake with about 10 laps to go after Scotsman retook the lead. Weeks before that, things haven't gone your way, and tonight it seemed like it really went your way for you. Not a whole lot going on, but you guys were bumper to bumper to bumper. You really kept yourself up there, and you made minor mistakes throughout the race.
Yeah.
Well, as we say, well, congratulations, Chasmo. We won't keep you waiting with more questions, but congratulations on a top 3 today. And we'll move up the ladder here, and your pole sitter, THR Europa, and recently on a new team and doing some RC battling, but back in action here today as we didn't get to have you last week. Started on the pole, got an early lead. Scottson got by you early on. You were able to battle back and just stay within range. Scottson made a mistake, and then later on, several laps later, he really took the lead, and it just seemed like he just kept getting slowly but surely away from you. How did your race pan out for you? And you were one of the drivers earlier in the week, correct me if I'm wrong, that said, the rain could really affect especially the BMWs, but not seeing that rain today, I'm sure you were pretty happy, especially the way it played out for you.
I mean, the car, the BMW is just super weak in the low speed corners. I was getting a lot of traction control bogging. So in the end, there was not much I could do. All I could do was try and stay within the draft. But once the draft was gone, I know that Scott had better pace than me. Even Chasmo probably had better pace than me. To be honest, I think the BMW was probably just a week this week, and I was actually hoping for the rain, to be honest, to see if it would the order a bit, maybe force a couple of mistakes. But in the end, yeah, it was just whenever I did more than as soon as I'd get to like past lap 8 on the tyres of the car, for some reason it would just TCS bog out of every corner and I would have no rear grip. So in the end, I was just damage limitation, I guess.
You know, Europa, you guys made it really interesting, though, for about a good half of the race. You guys were all nose to tail, swapping positions on and off. It seemed like for a while there, your car was a lot stronger on the straights, and as you said, the low-speed corners really affected your race. And obviously, Forza Motorsports, the game itself, said, like I was telling a little bit ago, 20% chance of not raining, which we should have just set it for 100%, decided it didn't want to rain. So it couldn't shake anything up. But obviously it was a good run for you, and I'm sure you have higher expectations for it, but like you said, you did everything you could. Was there anything that you could have done, though? I mean, you had Scottson behind you. You looked like you were trying to do everything you can, and when he got alongside you coming off the final corner there, got on that inside line, for a second there I thought you were going to try to nip it back to the inside going into 2 and 3, but you decided to lay off a little bit there.
I was wary of my connection. My connection's not been that great tonight, and I didn't want to cause a lag crash, so it's just better to tuck in behind and see if I could stay there and wait for another opportunity if Scott made a mistake. But in the end, it was too fast. Didn't have the same pace, and yeah, too much traction control bug for me. I wasn't able to stay with him out of the low speed corners.
Well, nonetheless,
even though I was running a lot more error than usual.
Well, nonetheless, Europa, you ran a great race today. You guys really put on a show up front. But congratulations on a top 2 finish, and looking forward to the weeks to come. And so it's glad to have you back. We missed you last week, but congratulations on a top 5.
Yeah.
And your race winner, ladies and gentlemen, ESV Scottson for the 4th time this season. And Scottson, another really weird week for you. Early mistake sent you back a little bit. Not as bad as last week. Last week you kind of really fell back. It was more laps developed this week. But just going into today's race, you knew that Europa got you on the pole. It took you about half a lap to get in front of him. You made a little mistake somewhere, got caught in the grass, and they had to kind of catch back up. Several laps later, you were right on him. Tried to make the outside move, got yourself within range to the inside going into 1. Took the lead, and you never really looked back. But just back-to-back weeks, early mistakes in races, it's got to be frustrating.
Today's race, I don't really know what happened. I came out of the hairpin, and the first slight right after it, I went over the curb a little bit, but for some reason the car just didn't like it and completely slipped out and on the grass. Thankfully, it didn't cost me too much.
We saw it last week where you fell back to about 7th or 8th, so especially today's race, I think it could have played out a little bit differently. It seemed like you guys up front were running pretty similar pace for the most part, but how hard was it for you to just get back up there? I mean, you got around Chasmo within range, but when you got behind Europa, he was pretty much running the lines you wanted to run. You had a slightly better exit out of the final corner there. What did it take to get around Europa at that point in the race?
Yeah, I knew this car was better on the straights, so it wasn't going to happen there. I think the strongest section for the car was like the first 4 turns, so I knew that if I was to get past him, it would have to be most likely in that section.
Well, once again, Scott, congratulations on a win here. It's your 4th win this season, and coming off of last year, I know this is the performance you're looking to have, obviously with less mistakes, but you got another half a season to go. Currently the points leader, so anything can still play out. It's a long season, but once again, congratulations, Scottson, on a win here today. And I got to ask you, were you disappointed with no weather conditions in effect?
A little bit, yeah. I don't see many league races with rain in them, so it would have been nice to have had that change, but that is what it is.
We tried, and I made the mistake of setting it up to 80%. I said, oh, it's gonna rain no matter what at 80, and it didn't, so that's my fault. Nonetheless.
No worries, man.
Anyways, congratulations on the win, and for all you guys watching today, we had a great crowd of people interacting throughout the race today. Thank you all for watching week number 5 of the MEA Prototype Challenge as ESB Scottson, your race winner, runner-up position THR Europa, and RD Chasma rounding out your top 3 with MRT Jewel and SSR Starlord falling in 4th and 5th. I'm Mr. Mayhem. We'll see you next week as the MEA Prototype Challenge continues. Thank you all for watching and have a fantastic night.